Hello, Greg from Balloon Market here, and welcome to BMTV. Right, in these times of lockdown, unfortunately, we're not able to have guests here in the studio, but we still like to talk to some guests, so we do that over the internet. So today's guest is a classic guest, been here many times in the flesh and online. We have the wonderful Sue Bowler. Sue, hello.
Hi, Greg. How are you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Yes, staying well and keeping very busy.
I love your set dressing. You've got flowers and everything in the back. It looks that's lovely. Yeah.
They are beautiful, aren't they?
They're very nice. Very nice. Things are starting to come out already. I think it's spring. Spring has been sprung. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'm actually buying some tulips off an amazing UK grower.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to support local businesses.
Fantastic. And that's what we all should be doing, where we can.
Exactly.
Anyway, thank you for coming on the show. It was really a little bit, I wanted to catch up, see what you've been doing, see how busy you've been and what projects you might have been working on, but also to really support people in this lockdown time. So with resources, and we're going to talk about your resource, the blog, in a minute. But yeah. What have you been up to? How's Bapia? How's everything?
No, everything's going really, really well. As you know from your own experience, the balloon industry seems to be flourishing. I've just had an incredible month working on the blog with some Valentine's projects, some blog posts there, and it's just proved how busy it is, because obviously there's been a lot of good response to those. But equally, I've been working on different ideas for new people joining the industry. Yeah. So it's been, there's lots of challenges out there. So it's as much as it's exciting, it's also very challenging for lots of reasons for people. So, I'm really very busy and really enjoying all the different projects I'm working on.
Yeah, no, good. Last week in the show, I talked about the resources that we have as Balloon Market on our website, but also on the resource that is BMTV. Obviously, we've been doing this for nearly 6 years. Can you believe it? Nearly 6 years we've been doing it every week, which blows my mind a little bit. But and it is really, I was really talking to a lot of people that are new in the industry, because the industry has grown quite a bit, I would say. So, and I guess the blog, your blog, the very best balloon blog, is another very, very valuable resource, because you've been doing that a while, haven't you?
Well, funny enough, because I knew I was going to be doing this today, I thought I'll just check back to see exactly how long I've been doing it. And it's actually my 10th anniversary this year. So
really?
Yes, 10 years. 10 years in June. I started writing the blog in 2011. And it's just gone from strength to strength, really. But before I talk about the blog, I just want to say one of my favourite resources that you have on Balloon Market is the pricing tool and the helium calculator and stuff like that. It is phenomenal. And, it's really interesting as an educator, talking, as an instructor, and trying to teach people how to price their work and just to really get them to understand it isn't very, particularly in the middle of a training course. To try and stop them and then say, right, let's talk about pricing and everything else. And, some people get it and other people are not quite sure. But I actually managed to run a training course before Christmas.
All right.
I was really fortunate. I had a local hotel that were really very accommodating and worked really closely with me to make sure it was, COVID safe and that we followed all the rules. And so it was great. I just did it was 6 people, and it was just a beginner's course. In fact, most of the people that came on the course had actually started their balloon businesses and were just taking a step backwards, really, just to make sure that they were doing everything correctly. Yeah. Which was quite an interesting course, really. But I digress. Basically, I decided that I would use your tool to show them how to do pricing and the helium calculator, and it was an absolute dream. It was so much easier to show people how to calculate their pricing. And I think that it's quite interesting, because one of the most read posts that I've ever had is about pricing your work. And people really, really struggle. I struggled, hands up, for 4 years. I had no clue how to price my work. It was all guessing. You know, because I hadn't had the same opportunity, I hadn't learned, and it wasn't seriously until I did my did the QBM program that I had any ideas of, you know, understand, because I didn't even know how to run a business. I mean, how many people know how to run a business? You know, you pick up on an idea, which is exactly what I did. You know, balloons sound great, and you know, I'm talking 30 years ago, when there were less people doing it anyway. But you know, I did not have a clue. I had no idea about overheads. I had no idea about making a profit. I had no idea about anything really. And you know, so there's so much to learn about, you know, when you're starting a new business. But yeah, that tool is just fantastic. It's just amazing.
Well, thank you. No, it's one of the things that when we did that show, it must have been 3 or 4 years ago with Mark, and I knew about the Qualitex, what's it called, job costing sheet.
Job cost form, yeah.
Job cost form, yeah. And but he went through that, and I struggled to understand it even after 12 years in business. And it was like, okay, if I'm struggling to understand that after being in business for 12 years, other people must be finding it hard as well. So that's why I put that together. But yeah, I was really pleased with it. And I know a lot of people use it, so it is very helpful. But going back to what you're saying about you don't know about business, that never stops. You continually learn.
No.
You know, I'm still learning now, and it will never stop. And I think that's one of the things in business is that you have to learn about the business side of it, and it keeps changing as you grow. It just keeps changing. Different challenges come up and different legal requirements and all the rest of it. So yeah, it's really exciting.
And that's, I mean, that really brings me back to the blog. I mean, that's really how, you know, I often get my inspiration for a post, because, you know, it might be that I see somebody commenting on a Facebook, you know, in a group, asking a question about how to set up an Instagram account, for example, or even, you know, is Instagram important for you to have? And then it's a good opportunity for me to then do a bit of research. I mean, over the whole of the last year, I've spent a lot of time learning more and more and more about Instagram and making posts more Instagram worthy, and how to edit my photographs and how to make little videos and, you know, all these things. And it's great because I learn it and then I can share it with my readers, and that's what I strive for, really, is just to try and find things that will inspire people and help people. You know, sometimes the posts are about, you know, design ideas, sometimes they'll be about, you know, social media. So they vary you know, extremes, you know, for different extremes.
I love it because, you know, what you've just said there is that you're learning something as you do it, and then you read up on it, you do a blog post, and then you're learning more because you're researching the blog post, but it's helping people. And as you help the industry, it helps to grow the industry. And I remember talking to Ted and Betty at Spring Fair, Ted and Betty Vlamis, at Spring Fair 5 years ago when I first met them. And their whole ethos is very much the same as ours, that we only grow if our customers grow. And so the more you can help them and support them, the better it is for everybody. And that's sort of the attitude that I've got towards helping people. So it's always good to give people something, and then they'll always learn more themselves doing their own research. But yeah, it's great.
But how many times do we do research? I mean, I do it regularly because I'm looking for different topics. But how many times do we do research and you read something and you think, I don't quite get that, or I don't really understand it? So again, another one of my, you know, another thing that I like to do is take all the research that I've learned and really put it into really simple key points. You know, because people don't have, as much as we all think we've got or we hoped we have time to do things, you know, if we can't learn what we want to know within about 5 or 6 minutes, we sort of go, I get so bored myself. It's like, oh no, I can't be doing that. I remember when I first tried to use Canva, John was cracking on it. He was doing loads of stuff, and I thought, well, if he could do it, I could do it. You know, it's obviously, you know, I'm the creative one here. And I started trying to work with Canva, and I just couldn't get it. I just could not get my head around it. So I just left it alone. And it wasn't until I saw Zoe Adam Jones from Australia. She did a fantastic tutorial on it. And it was about an hour's tutorial, but because I knew Zoe, I thought, right, So I set my laptop up and my iPad up, watched her on my iPad, worked it on my laptop, and within 10 minutes I got it, and I thought, wow, and then I watched the whole thing, and then I was excited because this was like a whole new door had opened for me now.
Absolutely.
And I could just see so many possibilities, as we talked about in one of our earlier shows. But it's for me, it's so rewarding to learn something new and then put it into action and then share that knowledge. It's just, I love it. It's really exciting.
If you want to simplify Brexit for us, that'd be great. Anyway, so yes, the blog. Should we talk about the blog a bit more then? I mean, you've already touched on it a few bit, but let's talk about it, because you were going to tell us about your most most read article.
Yeah. So just a few exciting stats. So to date, in the past, it's not quite 10 years. It'll be 10 years this year, as I said. We've had over 2.28 million views of the blog, which is extremely exciting. So they're unique page views, and the most read posts. So my top three, I've got them listed here just to remind me. But the top one is called A Sticky Situation, which is, and then it says, which glue is best for you and your balloons. And I actually first wrote that in 2013. But I've revised it over the years, and the last update was, in fact, it says 2016, but I did actually touch on it. So I do update my posts because I repost them on, not all the time, but if I feel that there's a question that comes up, I think it's relevant to repost a blog, I'll post it back out there. So, but I make sure I look at it first and see if there's anything that really needs addressing before I post it out, because it could be a little bit old information. So this has been updated. The one prior to that, so that one's had over 58,000 views.
Wow.
I know. So lots of people want to know about glue, which is very interesting. The one before that is obviously about pricing. How much should I charge for that? And that's had over 48,000.
Wow.
And the third one is quite a strange one, really. You wouldn't have guessed it if I asked you to guess what you think it's going to be about. It's actually balloon wars.
Oh, okay.
I know. So 22,000 people want to learn how to make balloon wars.
Fantastic.
But so which is, again, it's a really good cross section of different posts that are popular, and it just proves that I try and do different styles of post all the time. Some will be creative, some will be informative, some will have videos, some will just be literally text. But each post, it appeals to somebody for whatever reason. And I do get a lot of people contacting me and saying, how being able to read the blog has really helped them with their business, and in some cases has really inspired them or helped them to bring their business back up to a good level. So I'm never averse to touching a subject, because I think it's there's always somebody out there, even if it only gets read a few times, it may have helped somebody.
Absolutely.
So
you must be very proud of it, Sue. You should be very proud of it.
I am extremely proud of it. It's actually become quite a passion of mine. I've always enjoyed it since day one. Finding a different topic each week, as you probably know, is no easy. It's a challenge, to find what's going to appeal to people. What can I talk about now? But all I have to do is see a question on a Facebook group, and I think, that's going to be in my next post. Some things are quite, with, as I said, like before, about Valentine's Day, there are obviously with key dates, then that's a given. But it's difficult, because we would normally be talking about Spring Fair at the moment, because that's where we'd be setting up, and I will have prepped, and I would have come up with a whole load of new designs. But so I've got to think a little bit out of the box, but it's good. So yes, glue. Do you want to know about glue?
Well, it's funny. I really do want to know about glue. So tell me all about glue, Sue.
Okay, so I'm going to just literally run through this post, because I do think it's really, really very relevant, and it's again, it will never go out of date, because some glues are quite inexpensive, but other glues or adhesives or tapes, as we know, can be quite expensive, and people, don't really understand what's the justification for the cost. And I'm often seeing people say, do I really need to spend that much money on stretchy balloon tape or whatever it is. So we'll start with a glue that's actually not that easy to get hold of in the UK, but this is an international blog, so we have to talk about lots of different things. And when I first wrote this, I actually spoke to lots of other balloon artists from around the world to ask them what their favourite glues were. So often I'll do that. I get the opinions from different people, because obviously, different people have different opinions and different knowledge. So the first one is this one. This is called Elmer's Rubber Cement. It's often used by twisters in their work. Basically, it's a latex-based glue, which makes it perfect for sticking latex to latex. So if you're creating a balloon model of some sort and you want to, stick the hair on or whatever you want to do, Elmer's is really, really good for that.
So it's just got a brush in the lid sort of thing.
Yeah, it's one of those, but it is a glue that you can't buy easily, because it's got, it's a sort of a vapor-based glue. It's really sniffy.
Okay.
So it's one of those ones. So so there's Elmer's. So that's quite a popular one.
I've not heard of that before.
No, that's why I thought I'd start with that one. The next one is Balloon Bond. Now I think you did a whole a program on Balloon Bond versus stretchy balloon tape with Mark, didn't you?
Yes, I think we did.
You did.
The one I do remember was when we used stretchy balloon tape versus sellotape versus masking tape. That was a really good fun one, where I just kept adding weights to see how much it could hold, and the stretchy balloon tape won by a mile. But yeah, I think I did do one with Mark. You probably know more about the BMTVs than I do.
Well, it's only, because I think, they're a great resource, and so I'm often sharing the information that you have on there. But Balloon Bond's quite a unique tape. So it's a tape that doesn't have a back on it.
Yeah.
So when we use it and we peel it off, it's just like the glue that you would get from Elmer's, really. Yeah. It's just like a layer of glue. So again, it's fantastic for sticking latex to latex. And it's a really easy product to work with. It's very, very fine. If I'm using like little elements, like I like to make little 260Q bubbles in my designs, just a tiny little bit of Balloon Bond on those, sticking them into my design. So it's invisible. There's nothing to it. It just melts into the design, and you just don't see it. So I absolutely love it. It's another great product. But one thing I will mention about glue or tapes is, and we do struggle a little bit, is with the heat. Most glues don't activate very well in the cold, and things like Balloon Bond, stretchy balloon tape, even dashes, U-glue dashes, if they're cold, they don't work half as well as they will do if they're warm. So we need to be aware of that when we're working with them. I think stretchy balloon tape says something like over 70 degrees to make it work effectively.
Oh, right, okay. That's quite hot.
So, it's quite warm. So the thing is, I remember being at Spring Fair when you're during setup, and people have no concept of how cold it is in those exhibition halls during setup, because the doors are wide open, there's no heating on, and you're trying to work, you're trying to stick things together, and just nothing's working. Yeah. So all I ever do is I always take a little travel hairdryer with me.
Yeah, very good.
And I just warm the glue up just a little bit before I use it, and then it sticks like a rock. It's absolutely rock tight. So there are tricks to that you can use. And so if anybody ever says or thinks that their glue's not sticky enough, just look at the temperature and warm it up a little bit.
Often they'll say just a little while.
Be careful, because you don't want it to get, especially with something like Balloon Bond, it could start getting a bit stretchy.
Yeah.
So it's probably better to actually use it on the product and then heat it and then peel the back off, rather than warm it up in advance. Otherwise you might end up with it a little bit stretchy and a little bit difficult to work with. So, but yeah,
That's a
balloon
good tip.
bonds. Yeah. This one, which I think we all love, and it's very, very popular at the moment with all the different designs that are going out, stretchy balloon tape is, for me, is the ultimate tape available. I think that if you don't have that in your toolbox, you could really struggle. There's this tape has got me out of so many troubles. Probably, I mean, one of the best examples of how effective this tape is. So let me just say what it is first. It's stretchy balloon tape. It's designed for you to stick two maybe foils together. It's great from that. Once you stick them together, the bond is very, very, very strong and virtually impossible to pull them apart. You can, but it takes a lot of work. But because it's so strong, I was actually teaching I was actually doing a little demonstration. This was years ago. And I was going to demonstrate some little designs using the micro foils, like all the little foils, like the little, the animal heads and things like that. So I'd taken everything with me to wherever I was doing this demonstration. And the thing that I forgot was my heat sealer. So there I am, just about to do a demonstration with no heat sealer. But what I did have was stretchy balloon tape. So I thought, well, if it's that strong, it should be able to seal a balloon. And it worked like an absolute dream.
Really?
So, yeah. I mean, so if you can seal a balloon with quite a big hole in it, like that.
So what did you do? Just put it over the valve, over the where you.
So I just put it over the hole.
Yeah.
So I inflated the balloon, twisted it by the neck, got the neck really flat, put a piece across the hole. Then I used my thumb and just kept rubbing my thumb over it, so I got some heat into it.
Yeah.
And did that for a few seconds to make sure, and then it was absolutely perfect.
That's amazing.
And I've actually repaired balloons with it.
Yeah.
So I was preparing for a class. I can't remember where I was, but I was preparing for a class, and I'd inflated my foil balloon, and I had a floristry wire in my hand, and I turned around and did that and put a hole into the balloon.
Yeah.
And it was the only one I had. So I took the tiniest piece of tape, covered the hole, pumped up the balloon again. Absolutely perfect.
Yeah, so we're big fans of that. I know we sell quite a lot of it. Some people do say the balloon bond and the balloon tape are quite expensive. And if you look at it as a roll of tape, it is. But when you consider how much you use, it's just a tiny little bit normally. And it's value for money. I mean, it's pence, literally pence when you are using it. But as you've just described, they do such a good job. They're definitely a good investment. And like I say, all our customers that use it swear by it. They absolutely love it, even over the U-glue dashes. So. Yeah,
I mean, U-glue dashes, which I'll come on to in a minute. But I don't know, this one, apart from the repair, I mean, with all these marquee style designs or all these sort of multi-balloon, there's a lot of work in there. And I see people I've seen little videos, you've probably seen them as well on Instagram, and somebody's got this great big design and they're trucking them across the road and they're rock solid, and there's no other product that you could use that would create that amazing strength, of connection. So, I like you say, you use a very, very small amount of it and it is worth its weight in gold for balloon professional, without a shadow of doubt. Absolutely. I think all the glues have a purpose, but this one is you've got to have this. I would not go anywhere without a roll of this in my bag.
But you keep bursting balloons, Sue, so you need to, don't you?
or forgetting important equipment.
Yes,
something like that. So the next one, I think, needs no real introduction, are the U-glue dashes. Now, when I first started using these, it was in America, so we didn't even have these in the UK at the time, and I fell in love with them because they're so quick and easy to work with, and they work. That's the thing. Often you'll find a glue dot doesn't have the same sort of stickiness that you want it to have, whereas with a U-glue dash, they and everybody was talking about them. I think I was probably at a convention and everyone was talking about them, and I thought, what are these things? What are they? And they've been a firm favourite of mine ever since. Yeah. So they're just that instant, adhesiveness that you need when you want to just put something on somewhere, and it's going to stay.
So how do you
which
use
is-
those over, say, the stretchy balloon tape? What's the different scenario that you might prefer to use those?
Well, if I'm sticking two foils together and it's a strong connection that I need,
Yeah.
I would only ever use stretchy balloon
Okay.
tape. That to me is, but if I'm making a smaller design where I need the strength, but it's not sort of, doesn't need to be as robust.
Okay.
And if I just want like pinpoint sticky points, I just want to do a little point here or a little point here, then I'll use a dash.
I see. Okay.
That'll be the difference. But if I was making a design that had two foils that really there's no way that I want them to come apart,
Yeah.
then it would be the stretchy balloon tape.
Okay. All right.
So
Good.
so that would be those. So yes, I think they don't really need much in the way of introduction. They are very, very, very popular.
Yeah.
So we're going to change a little bit. Another glue that some people may or may have not seen before. This is just a glue pen. These are great. Before we ever had vinyl cutters or die cutters, people still like to personalise balloons, but they would obviously hand write on their balloons. And I probably saw glue pens way, way back, probably 25 years plus ago. And I remember going to a party show in the UK many years, and the most beautiful, designs and handwriting on balloons, and then the glitter, and they were absolutely gorgeous. But you do have to have decent handwriting.
Yes.
So as much as I'd like to think that, I've got my handwriting's okay, it's not beautiful.
I've seen some people that go on calligraphy courses, and they just
Calligraphy.
do, and menu board. People learn how to write on chalkboards and things in a particular style. And if you've got those sort of skills, the glue pens and glitter is perfect, really.
Yep. I have seen people, which is quite interesting. I think I saw this I think it was probably Brazil, where somebody used the reverse of a vinyl to create like a stencil.
Okay, yeah.
And they put that onto a balloon, and then they used a glue pen and then
very
removed the
clever,
vinyl, and then they had, and that I think that was more for a caricature face that they were doing.
Yeah.
But yes, I've seen that done before as well, so that was quite an interesting one. That was
Cool.
a concept that I'd never considered.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so something that you might not consider to be an adhesive, but it is, of sorts, is high float.
Okay.
And I've used high float for many years for us putting confetti inside balloons, or putting glitter on the outside of balloons and different things like that. So as much as it's not a real adhesive, actually I did discover, I was reading up on high float's website, that it's made from a similar compound to the glue that they use on the back of stamps. When we used to lick our stamps.
Yeah, back in the old
so
days.
it is, yes, in those days. So it is, it's perfectly safe. There's, it's not, it's a natural product. They actually say it's non-toxic and it's biodegradable. So it's a type of adhesive, and we can use it for lots of different things. So it's really good when you go onto the High Float website and you look at all the different tricks that they do with high float, for example, for Halloween and different, and like confetti balloons. So yeah, we shouldn't discount high float as being part of the adhesive group. So
That's an interesting one. I would not have thought of that.
There you go.
Cool.
Lomi. Now, not everybody will know what Lomi is. So we use a product in the UK and around Europe, but it is an American product. So there will be people in the US that will know about it as well. So it's acrylic based. So it's acrylic poles and bases that we use to create air-filled displays on. So we use it to stick the adhesives, the poles to the bases and things like that. And sometimes you think, well, I don't need to use that. I could just use a glue gun. And the problem with using a glue gun is that we were talking about temperature and how glue can be affected by temperature. So glue guns can be heavily affected by cold temperature. So if I stick two elements together using a cool glue gun, like the acrylic, and I take it from a warm room into a cold location, or take it outside, the glue can just go completely brittle and
right.
just come apart. So, but if we use the Alomi adhesive, nothing will actually get those two things apart.
Okay.
It's very, very strong. The only problem with Alomi adhesive is it takes quite a long time to dry.
Yeah.
So if I was using it for a pole and base, I'd give it 24 hours before I would actually work with it. So that needs to be learned about. Something that I haven't used recently, but have, or for a while, but have used it a lot recently, is my glue gun.
Yeah.
And basically I stopped using them for years because I didn't feel the need for it. So this is a low temperature or a cool glue gun or a low melt glue gun. You do not want to have a hot glue gun for working with balloons. And as I said, I haven't been using one for years and years and years, but since I've started making the mosaic frames, there is no other option. You have to use a glue gun. Yeah. And so it's now become my best friend because I really enjoy making mosaic frames. Yeah. And it's perfect. And you can, I mean, obviously, it will allow you to stick latex balloons into the frame. Just got to be a little bit careful. You can get a bit glue heavy and it looks a bit ugly. Yeah. So you just got to work it out. But no, works really, really well. Okay. The only thing that it doesn't like is 260Qs. It will pop them. So don't use it on there. Yeah.
Why is that?
Definitely not. I don't know. I think maybe the latex is a little bit thinner.
Okay.
And it just, every time I've tried to stick in like a little bubble or something into a design and put the glue gun on it, just seems to sort of pop it. So
well, you can just use U-Glue Dash or something for that then, can't you?
Oh, I would, or Bloom Bond. Either of those two works really, really well. Or even Elmer's. Any of those would work really well. So, and another glue that do you know Gorilla Glue?
Oh yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I only discovered Gorilla Glue because I had to do some centerpieces some years ago where I used a tile base, and then I needed to stick a plastic element to it so I could make this wire centerpiece. And this is the only glue that I could find that will allow me to stick one type of material to another, and it would be absolutely rock solid, and it worked perfectly well. Really, really amazing stuff. So, but I haven't used it since then. That was the only thing I ever needed it for.
I've used it to repair my glasses before.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, that worked. So
it just it basically says it will. It says it's the toughest glue on the planet, and it will stick anything to anything. So
you can just pick that up at B&Q as well, can't you? So
yeah, no, that's where I got that one from.
Yeah.
And the only glue that I mentioned, the final one that I mentioned that I've never ever used, and I don't know many people that have, and it's called pan glue. So pan glue is basically like an electric pan, really. So you plug it in, and then you put these glue chips into it.
Yeah. And
then it melts, and then you just stick whatever you're using, you wanted to glue, into it, and then onto whatever you're doing. But as I said, but this goes back, a long time ago. I think a lot of people, though, it was actually Colin Stewart that said that he used to use this a lot for his sculptures. He used it for many years. But I think probably today there's many glues that have superseded that one. But I do remember seeing it at conventions years ago where people would be making, big sculptures and using pan glue. Yeah. But there you go.
That's amazing, isn't it, when you think about it? I mean, we sell most of those things, and I hadn't even really thought about it, but there's so many different types of adhesive and glue that we can use. So, no, that's really good. But there is obviously the blog about that. So if people want to remember and find out more about that, they can just go to the blog, and we'll put the link up on the screen, I guess.
There's a lot more detail in the blog. I've literally just flown through it and given you just a whistle-stop tour of each one. But in the blog, there's a lot more detail, and from other people, from other artists, which is really nice, really Fantastic. Good to hear people's opinions on them.
I've got a question about the blog, Sue. Do you know how many blog posts you've actually done over the 10 years nearly? Have you got that number written down?
I have. I wrote it down. I've actually published, I don't always publish everything that I write, but I've actually published over 475 posts.
Wow. That's amazing. So 475 articles that can help you in your business out there. So,
and actually, just one thing that if you want to do a search on the blog for certain posts, there is a search facility, which if you scroll down, it's on the right hand side, and you can just put any keywords in there and it'll bring up all the posts that relate to those keywords. That same facility you cannot get on your phone, so it's quite frustrating that when you do it on your phone, you can only get sort of like the last however many posts, whereas if you want to do a specific search, you really need to go on your laptop and open it up there. And you'll get a lot more information. I mean, there is a translate button as well, so people can translate it using, it's a Google Translate. But I have been told that it's pretty good and it's pretty accurate, so that's always good. You know, and it's quite interesting because when you open up a post, you're not quite sure what you're going to find. And if I can find a video that helps people, you know, a little bit more to relate to whatever I'm writing about, there could well be a little step-by-step video in there or something else. So there's lots of little hidden gems in each post. You know, I try and make them as exciting and as informative as possible.
No, well, you're doing a fantastic job. So thank you. And on behalf of the industry, thank you for everything that you're doing.
Thank you. My pleasure.
So Sue, as you know, as a guest on BMTV, you get to ask the question of the week. Now, did you remember that I was going to ask you to ask the question of the week? That is the question.
No.
Well,
I'm okay. Go on.
Go on. Go on. I think there's a very simple one that comes to mind here.
Yes. What is your favourite adhesive? What do you like to use?
Exactly.
Is that the one you were thinking?
Yes, absolutely. Perfect.
Okay. So what adhesive do you prefer to use in your balloon business? And we'd love to hear that. Thank you.
Yeah. So please leave your comments down below on Facebook and on YouTube. Sue, it's been lovely to catch up. Obviously, it's been a while now, so really nice to talk to you. Please tell John hello, and I look forward to when we can catch up again in person. So yes, thank you so much for doing this, and thank you everybody out there for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you've not subscribed, please do hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon to be notified every time we upload a new video. Thank you so much. Stay safe. See you all again soon. Bye.